circling back to the space station falling out of the sky, it will crash into the ocean, but not until 2030. So NASA...
but does it?
But will it? You mean?
But does it?
Yeah, so the space station, the first time it had a crew on it was back in 2000. And really, the life of the ISS was only supposed to be for like 15 years. And then NASA, like in 2014, NASA's like, oh, we probably should have planned for this. And they ended up extending it out until 2030. So it's 15 years later. And yeah, so basically what will happen is that NASA will cease all operations with it in 2031, and it'll fall out of orbit and plunge into the waters of the South Pacific Ocean. Which is really scary to think about it because it's so big. It's like the length of like, I don't know, like 5 football fields, I think. 3 football fields. So that's pretty huge. So on that note, yeah, right. On that note, NASA is really looking towards the private sector to, I guess, rely on funding and kind of take space exploration into that next step. They pretty much said, like, we've had, like, the private sector or commercial sector can absolutely fund this endeavor with our assistance, and we'll go from there. With this, NASA is estimated to save $1.3 billion in 2031 alone.
Damn.
So it can be applied in other areas and other space initiatives. My only concern is, and I'm wondering if you guys feel the same, is like if this is something that's funded by private or commercial sector, like it's a good thing that the government's not controlling it as much because we've seen the government take a lot of funding away from it. But I don't know. I feel like it's almost like dirty money a little bit because it will be more geared towards profit than actual like scientific expanse. Like that's just my personal feeling.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you guys were feeling the same.
Yeah, I'm feeling the same thing. Like I it's already really nice to look up at the night sky and at least see a couple of stars if you're lucky, with a couple of helicopters and, you know, fucking space station flying over the moon. I don't want to see a goddamn Amazon warehouse up in orbit. I don't want to see a giant A just...
You're going to see a giant A to Z just billboard floating in the sky.
You're going to see an Apple logo just floating. That's their distribution warehouse say
now. That is the worst aspect of it, I think. I don't think we're going to see anything like that in our lifetime, maybe. Because our generation still covets the sky in a way, right? Mm-hmm. So we're not just really ready to throw it all to the major corporations.
Air rights are a thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, but then again, on the flip side, we've seen what SpaceX has done compared to NASA. So, I mean, their track record's a lot better.
Yeah,
that's more sustainable in the long run.
Yeah.
I mean, Elon Musk has like fuck you money just to piss off all.
But look at the plan for the International Space Station, right? Like you're talking a monument to humanity, right? It was a big endeavor that a lot of the major countries have taken part in. I think there's over 100 countries have taken part in it.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're just going to crash it in the ocean. Bye. At least with SpaceX, they're like, hey, let's find a way to reuse our rockets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you guys think when they fish it out, they'll put it back together? And do y'all want to go to the museum?
Hell yeah.
They're going to put it back together, but it's definitely not going to. It'll be like a replica. It won't be this thing's going to burn up mostly. So.
Yeah. It was a major feat, and that's a good point, Crazy. It's really sad. It's almost as sad as the little rover on Mars that like was like, okay, this is it for me, bye y'all, and just ran out of battery. Like, that was incredibly sad for me. Like, I had a total Wall-E moment, and now, like, a big step in our space exploration is, like, now a thing of the past, and it's just gonna crash into the ocean, hopefully.
Right? Like, we may not have seen it launch in our lifetime, but we saw it complete in our
2001.
lifetime. Yeah.
Yeah, it was had its first career in 2000.
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
I also like worry that like other private companies, like they may have sources in other countries, but I feel like the ISS really forced countries to work together, and now different people are kind of touting, you know, like, I guess their technology that they have. So for example, like in China, I don't know if you guys knew this, but actually you do, Crazy, because he sent a video, Russell Brand covered it, about manipulating the weather, and that's
Saudi
China's
Arabia, China.
Yeah, they're trying to do weather control, and I know that they're also trying to do some, like China in particular is trying to do some type of tourism thing by 2025. So like, if there's no international working together, I feel like it's going to be like a fight to kind of get out into space and claim the orbit, basically.
Yeah.
Well, so like China has already flown to the dark side of the moon and landed there, where we barely landed on like if you point a laser dot from the Earth, like that's what we did, and they were actually able to go navigate and land on the other side. So when you talk a technological, advancement, that's huge.
Especially because it's fucking cold on the other side.
Yeah.
Well, depending.
I mean, the ambient temperature is still
It's way lower.
relative, but
Yeah.
I think also too, like, we all laughed at SpaceX. I know I did, or not SpaceX, but like Space Force. And now I'm like, okay, this is incredibly important, because now that the ISS is going down, there's not the international effort. People are going to have their own space stations. And this also opens up the opportunity for like attacks in a different way. So, we talked about Russia and Ukraine, was it last week or the week before? And, now Russia and China are basically in support of each other. Like, that's been an update this past week. So it's a little concerning for me. Like, I'm really excited about the possibility of space exploration and what's to come, but also I'm a little concerned about what it means in the long run, especially in the next like 10 to 15 years.
Well, I mean, like 6 months ago, we watched Russia launch a rocket and blow up one of their satellites.
Yeah,
Just to say, hey, look,
I can do it.
Yeah. We have rockets to spare. What the fuck?
Yeah, I just hope that there's some type of like international working together. I feel like it's helped in perspective, even though like in all space movies that you see with all the different countries, each country has its own agenda, and that's no different than real life. So we'll see.
This is why all the governments on the world need to come together and make the first official Earth spaceport. It's the only way.
There's too many competing interests. Not enough aligned interests.
Mm-hmm.
There's still people who are clinging to a non-digital lifestyle, and yeah, I don't think it's going to survive much longer. They're fighting to keep it, and it's hard to fight to keep something that's dying. It's just like.
Well, like even things now, like we live in such a digital age. Like things like fundraisers and charities have changed a lot too. Like more people are using like crowdfunding with platforms like GoFundMe and etc. like Facebook to do charities and stuff like that. So the world is definitely changing.
Well, that wraps up another great episode. And don't forget to join our amazing and supportive community on Discord.
In our Discord, you can find game nights, watch parties, food pics, Dungeons and Dragons, and more. What's not to love about that? We have a little something for everyone. Head over to our website, officialmillennials.com, and you'll find more info. especially our featured Gamer of the Week.
Speaking of something for everyone, we have a book club. We read a book almost every month and talk through it together. We also have a special perk for our subs to discuss other books in a series called Chapter 2.
Don't forget to swing by YouTube and drop us a follow at Official Millennials. You can also find us on Twitter at MillsOfficial. We appreciate all the support, and y'all have a good one.
This is an Official Millennials production.